Hey guys, what's going on? This is Dan. I'm joined here with Matt. Matt, what's up?
What's up, guys?
You guys are listening to the Internship Podcast. We're getting more and more into the podcast. Hopefully we're getting a little bit better. I know the first couple might be rough, but we're still learning on our end. So as you guys know, this podcast is to help young professionals and college students navigate decisions and finding their dream job, things like that, things that they don't teach you necessarily in school. So that's our goal. If you like what we have to say, if you're getting any value out of the podcast, please subscribe, like, share, whatever you can do to get the word out. So today we're talking about something that I am super excited about. This is an episode that I think will be a top 10 episode in terms of value and importance, even after we do 100 or 200 episodes. Like, it's just a big deal, especially for young professionals or college students or even high school students, is the LinkedIn, the optimizing your profile, optimizing your resume, just so that you're set up for success from that standpoint. So we're going to dive a lot into using LinkedIn as a tool to land that dream job and to really set you guys up. So we're going to talk about resume first, and then we're going to talk about using that to optimize your LinkedIn profile page. And then the coolest part that I think we're going to talk about today is just how to navigate LinkedIn to find the person who's in charge of hiring. So stay tuned on that for sure, because I think that just being able to do that is going to separate you from the pack of every other person applying by far. And so, yeah, I'll let Matt jump in. Oh, one thing before we get started, I did want to say we are putting together a guide, a PDF guide. So if you guys go to theinternshippodcast.com, you're going to be able to put in your email address, and we're going to email you a PDF guide of step-by-step instructions of what we talk about today. So I just want to get that out of the way because it's going to be a lot of information that we're going to be giving out today. So we'll get started. Matt, what's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, Dan? So, like Dan said, we'll get into the resume, LinkedIn, a little bit of how to use LinkedIn for networking. But when it comes down to it, everybody knows this by now. When you're looking for a job, you have to have a resume. So a lot of people, it can be incredibly scary, especially your first time writing a resume. You don't know how to format it. You don't know what to say. You don't know what to put. You don't know how to fill up that page. So I'm going to talk about a couple of steps that I would say are like the basics to get you going on a resume. But first, it all kind of comes down to figuring out what the hell it is you want to do, right? A lot of people, like we had talked about on podcasts before, they'll end up doing a major and then going and shifting to something completely outside their major. And that's okay, right? Some people just need that piece of paper that said I went to college for 4 or 5, in my case, 6 years, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, starting out, keep it to one page, right? The first thing, especially if you're really new in your career, one page should suffice. Keep it clean. Obviously, you want everything in order.
Yeah, and I want to add that, like, if it does go 2 pages, that's not going to stop your chances of getting a job. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
No,
too.
These are basic guidelines, but if somebody tells you, if you've got a ton of internship experience and you want to highlight it and it goes into a page and a half, do it. Like, no recruiter will ever look at your resume and say, oh my God, this guy put his resume into a page and a half. Reject. Like,
right, yeah.
Not at all. These are just basics for keeping it clean. But the majority of this, or the meat and potatoes of it, is one, I guess the first step I would do is list out everything you did in your jobs and your internship. So this isn't even about a resume and structuring it. It's get a piece of paper or
it's kind of like brainstorming.
Open up a Word doc and literally list your roles and everything you did in those roles from top to bottom, right? Two of those responsibilities, you can kind of put them in order for most important to least important. Or even better, if you're looking at a specific role, put in the top bullets what you did that would most correlate to success in those roles, right? So if you were a bartender throughout college and you were applying to a sales position, ring in X amount of sales, talk to customers on a regular basis, upsold them on from, single to double, whatever it is that you might want to put.
I think that like whenever you did, so if you've listened to previous podcasts, Matt was a bartender, but when he applied for a job, and you had mentioned this before, you kind of tailored your resume with that experience to maybe like social media manager. Like what pieces are you touching, even if it's very lightly, that's going to be more applicable to a corporate job or whatever you're looking for, right? So What was that you did? You you said you were it was a social media?
Yeah, so I did an internship with Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and so it was like, they were like, it kind of had me make the internship as I was going, and they had zero social media presence. Yeah. So I decided to take over their social media, start them like a Twitter and Facebook account. I decided to, I helped them with fundraising. But what?
No, I thought you meant I thought you talked about that you worked at a bar, but then you managed their social media or something.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So you put that instead of just bartender.
Yes, so I would use social media, and I would create Facebook pages and invites and whatever to promote it. Right. Yeah. So utilizing Facebook.
Yeah.
And
because that's
Instagram.
Probably more important. And don't get me wrong, you'll get the people skills of being a bartender, but I think that is something that you really pull out of that type of job that you can put on a resume for a corporate type job.
You can. And again, it depends on the position that you're applying
to. Of course.
You want to put in order. So no matter what it was that you did, you want to put at the top the skills and the things that are going to correlate to potentially success in this role. So if you read the job description of the job you're applying to, what do those things match up or what are similar? And then 3, what you accomplish doing those activities. So a resume should never read like a job description, and this is just in my case, like tended bar, right? Work 15 to 20 hours a week, right? It should read as your accomplishment. So once you're able to list out like what you did.
Yeah, because they already know what you've done. Like they know what a bartender does. So they don't need to, you don't need to tell them what they already know. And, a job title, they can Google what that person does. Like tell them why you are somebody that they should hire. Right?
Absolutely. Like if you're doing an accounting internship and you're looking for an accounting role, okay, we understand that you budgeted and forecasted, but what was the impact on that? Like, I was able to, cost savings of 15%. Whatever it is, like put the impact that you were able to have. That's the little stuff that's probably going to set you ahead of the game. And that's kind of how I usually go about talking and telling people how to when they don't know how to write a resume or it's been a really long time. What are your thoughts?
So I agree 100% with everything that you said. Definitely write down what you've done, your accomplishments, and how the skills that you've developed over the jobs that you've held or the things that you've done, whether it's in school or at work, how do those skills kind of convert to whatever job you're applying for? I will say, my thought is, and I don't know if you get turned off by this, but I definitely do, is like, what job should you not include? So like if you're driving pizzas at Pizza Hut, like to me, just don't even put that on there.
So it depends.
I mean,
because if somebody went from like a corporate job,
unless you're applying to be a pizza driver.
Well, here's the thing: if something happened, like let's just say, and I'm just making this up on the spot, if somebody were to have a corporate job and then they shifted out of the corporate world because they maybe needed to take care of family or whatever it is, so they did a full year as a pizza driver so they could get night shifts, I would probably want to see that as opposed to
just a gap,
a year gap and nothing going on.
Yeah. So as you get further in your career, if that does come up, that's a little bit different than I think than the people that we're talking to. But we do see resumes where they'll say, "Hey, we worked at XYZ from 2013 to 2016," and then the next job on the resume it'll say like 2019 to present, and so you're wondering what happened in those 3 years, what was going on, and so I think. If this ever happens to you, if you ever, have to take some time off, whether it's be a stay-at-home mom, whether it's medical, whether it's caretaker, whatever it might be, tell that story, I guess is the way I would, and say, hey, listen, I know that I was off work for 3 years, but here's what was going on. I would rather see the story right in front of me to where, because you may not even get a call if they have to ask the question, is my point, because they can just call somebody else, right? So like for me, if the story's right there, I already have the answer. It's in the resume. So that's my theory on it.
100%. And actually, this is kind of tailing off into another interesting subject. There are two sides of the coin to this, right? There is, if it's something simple and it's like, hey, took a year off during this time to take care of father. Like, right. If I see that, I'm like, okay, completely understandable. No questions asked. There's also a point where it's TMI, right? Like, you don't need to get into
don't say
specific,
my father had.
You don't have to say
cancer.
You don't have to say that. My dog died. Like, I ended up breaking my leg. Like, you don't have to get into too much.
Yeah, and that I'm gonna kind of parlay that goes into the interview. When you get an interview, and we're getting a little off topic, but I think this is super important to where when you go in an interview, don't tell all your personal shit in the interview. Keep it clean. They're not going to ask you questions because technically they're not allowed to really make a decision based on you taking care of your mom. And they don't care, and I know this sounds bad, they don't really care if your mom was going through some hard times and died or whatever. They just know that, okay, this person was taking care of the mom. That's all you need.
And realistically, it's like, I've heard this before. It's for no reason. It's like, if they'll throw out something like, my husband cheated on me, and so I was going through a really hard time.
Yeah.
That part doesn't need to be.
Right.
We don't need to know that, and it's not about TMI. Like just having the whatchamacallit, like the emotional intelligence.
You have to position it right. So like instead of that example, it's I was going through a divorce and we were splitting up the assets, and it just took some time. I had to take some time off in order to get things in order. Yeah. And that's it. Boom, done.
And sometimes there's vague. It can be even more vague than that. But yes, that's perfectly fine. But honestly, anything that has to do with dealing with some family issues or whatever it has to be, like a lot of times you don't have to give too much information, but just like Dan said, like a nugget of it, like quick, concise, to the point, and then end it.
Yeah.
Zero details.
Whatever you do not like elaborate on your personal issues, because
don't turn it into a therapy session.
Yeah, exactly. Because they're going to say, holy shit, like, is this person bringing a lot of baggage?
Yep. And it makes it incredibly awkward, and it also just sets the tone way off course for the interview.
Yeah. Okay. So back to we were at like pizza driver stage, and
yep. So we were just talking about.
You went into okay. Yeah. So that's probably when you're further down in your life and things come up and you have to take some time off or whatever. But getting back to first job type resume, first internship, something like that. We were at applicable skills. I'm trying to remember exactly where we were at, but so
that's why you take notes.
I can't take notes right now. Anyways, so
bonus for me. Now that I'm thinking about it, because we talked about like write the stuff and the impact that you have.
Yeah. Okay.
It doesn't matter what age you are or where you are in your career. The earlier, the better. Everything that you do and accomplish, write down in a Word doc or some type of little brag book, because you don't really realize how much shit that you do and contribute to a company, even as a bartender, even as a delivery driver, whatever it is, write it down, because this is going to, one, go on your resume, and two, you're going to be able to talk to these stories in interviews, and some of these you're going to forget.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right, so I've said so like 50 times. So what? Write down everything you've done, and now we're getting to the formulate a resume piece, right? So dive into that a little bit.
So
structure it's got to be clean.
So I'd say 5 to 7 bullets on it, on each one. You want a little bit. You definitely don't want paragraph form as a recruiter, and I can probably vouch for every single recruiter. Because as many resumes as we look at, the last thing that we want to do is see paragraphs about it, right? Get clear.
Unless a keyword. So, and we're gonna dive into like how recruiters search, but unless I see a keyword highlighted from a search that I do, I don't even go through the paragraph ones.
Yep.
So
Keep the bullets, 5 to 7 bullets. On those bullets, make sure they're 2 lines max. So you don't want 3 lines on a bullet. Again, this is just little stuff. It's partially about the look, but it's partially because, and I guess I'm going to say this a lot today, it's the meat and potatoes. Right? When I'm a recruiter, most of the times I don't know what the shit an accountant does. Like, I could never look at a spreadsheet. I'm just looking for specific words that they need to have in order to meet the qualifications for the position.
Is that part the meat or is that the potatoes?
It's both. It's both.
Right before the podcast, we were laughing about potatoes and meat.
Okay. No explanation. Just leave them guessing.
So, yeah, we won't go too far into that. He said a mashed potato is not a natural potato.
No, it's not in its natural form. You said, what kind of potato do you like? I said, there's a
Are we including
billion.
French fries and French fry? No, and I said natural form. So you get a potato, you get a fork, and you can add a couple of ingredients if you want to.
That's not a natural form. Agree to disagree.
Whatever.
So,
Baked potato, sour cream, bacon,
all of it.
and
So-
mashed potatoes.
Anyway.
All right, sorry.
Anyway, so that's kind of like, those are my real keys to it. And then you can talk about, I don't know, your take on education.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, the previous podcast, we talked about this a little bit, where I think that education, when you're just getting out of school, should be at the top, but as soon as you get your first job, it drops to the bottom. And if you have a couple of internships or you have real applicable experience, and you have to be the judge of that, you guys have to use your brain to figure out, is the experience that I have today enough alone to get me the job? If not, then put the education at the top. If there's more important pieces of what you've done as as an employee somewhere or as an intern or just in your life skills, whether it's like writing a blog or whatever, that's way more important to me than the education. So education, if you don't have much else to put on there, goes up top. If you have more context in regards to what job you're applying to, drop it to the bottom. And you guys got to be the judge of that, though. So,
Yep.
I mean, I'm not going to dock it. I'm not going to dock a resume because the education's at top. It's just, to me, it's experience over education. So.
Yep, and really that's it as far as the meat and potatoes go of a resume. That should get you started and going. And then as soon as you, and this should be the easy part, as soon as you finish the
Wait. I want to ask you a couple questions. What do you think about a bunch of color on your resume? So, like, you got a bunch of, like, border and shit like that. And this is aesthetics, right? And then your face picture, like a picture of your face.
In a resume, no. I wouldn't put a picture of your face. I'm not a fan
Recruiters
of it.
do make fun of that.
Recruiters, yeah.
Yeah. So, like, if we get an applicant and they got a picture of their face, we kind of laugh about it.
No, this will go
Unless it's, like, purposely funny. Like, I had a guy who had his sleeves cut off, and he was wearing like a wig, and he had his pit bull out, and he had a football in his hand.
See, that's good.
It was hilarious.
Yeah. So, but otherwise, yeah, I would keep away from the picture unless, and this will go for the colors too. Same on the same token. I don't need color. I don't need pictures. I can understand it if you're some type of creative.
Yeah,
But
creative
if you're a graphic
roles.
designer or something like that.
Yeah, so I would still, even if you're a graphic designer, well, maybe the picture. I mean, if it's a picture, it's got to be a really good picture. Like, it's got to be legit. Matt's, like, fucking pounding crackers or some shit. What do you got over there?
Peanut butter crackers.
Peanut butter crackers. So if you hear crackling, it's peanut butter crackers.
I'll lay off.
No, it's okay. Have one. Hold on. We're gonna wait for Matt. We're on Matt's time. So what I would say, yeah, for sure. If you're creative, definitely make the layout creative, right? But you're also going to have your portfolio that you're going to send in conjunction to the resume. So you might have a website and you might have a professional photo of you on your website. You know, so we'll let you judge it if it's a creative role. I'll give you that one. But for the most part, like if you're an accountant, like we don't need to see your mug. That's for sure.
Right.
So that's the resume.
Yeah.
So what do we do with the resume now that we have built one?
So this is what everybody should do at any age.
Yeah, and this is like the most important thing that you guys need to be doing right now from a job search and internship standpoint. So I'll let Matt dive into this.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as you finish a resume, it should make it a lot easier, and that's LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So
100%.
Get a LinkedIn profile. As recruiters, we are on LinkedIn all day, every day, 24/7. Like the first thing I do is log into LinkedIn, and that's the last thing I close out of at night.
Yeah, and by the way, not only are recruiters on LinkedIn, let me reiterate this, pretty much any professional that's worth a shit is on LinkedIn. Whether it's a CEO. Now there's some business owners that are like, fuck it, I don't care. I make a couple $1 million a year. I don't need LinkedIn. But there's so many middle management of corporations and things like that. They're all on LinkedIn. All the people that you want to talk to are on LinkedIn. And if you guys don't have LinkedIn, you are falling way behind all of your competition in terms of applying for jobs. So we're going to talk about optimizing that LinkedIn profile page before we get into any further LinkedIn action. But we start with the resume, right, Matt?
Yeah. Take your resume, copy and paste it into the experience section. It's super easy and user friendly. I mean, you literally just put, it says title, dates. It has a drop down for the dates. And then what did you do? Description. You copy and paste your bullets right into that and you're done. That alone, if you just close it out, that will get you noticed by recruiters, and it would take a total of 5 minutes maybe.
Yeah. So other pieces. So basically you're copying and pasting your resume into LinkedIn. That's super easy. It's brainless. Like, that's a given, right? Like, when you set it up, it says, where'd you work? So you're just going to do that. But then also, this is where the photo comes in play. Like, no photo is actually a bad thing on LinkedIn, and a shitty photo is even worse thing. Definitely a really solid face photo.
You're the only person in it. No group photos. No photos of the you and the girlfriend. Whatever.
Not at the bar, a bachelorette party, shit like that.
And I say professional picture. It doesn't have to be like professionally done. We all have iPhones. We all have portrait mode.
Yeah, but I will say it's better. Now I'm going to ask a question, and I have no idea the answer, but my perspective or my thoughts on it are, I feel like, when I'm recruiting, if I see somebody with a really good photo, I'm thinking they're an A player. I don't know about you. Like, they might not be.
No, I get that. I get that vibe. Like, as opposed to somebody who, they were in a picture at a wedding and they kind of cut it out, right?
Yeah.
I would say 100%. But seriously, that portrait mode makes it look professional. So as long as you're like done up on however you would want to dress in the workplace, and it's a decent background, like you don't have to pay someone.
No.
Because I feel like majority of the people we're talking to are broke college kids.
Right. And so Madeline had said that her career center had a headshot studio or something like that. So see if like your marketing department, I'm sure somebody at your school could take maybe a professional photo, and there's probably a college kid out there that is either listening. You could build a business on doing headshots for your for your fellow college students and do them for cheap, you know? And so, but I'll even go as far as to say, I would think that people with really good headshots make more money or get higher offers. Just because they look the part before, because a lot of times, like, you're not even meeting the candidate when you do the first phone interview, so you're looking at their LinkedIn profile, and they're kind of conveying something with that photo alone.
Now we're talking like causation versus correlation. Like,
those are big words for me.
I don't think it's because of those that they get paid more, but I could see why people that would go the extra mile to do that would end up getting more money, if that makes sense.
I could see that.
It's going the extra mile.
I just feel like when I submit a candidate who has a really good photo and a good background, the background's more important than the photo, but if they have a good photo and a good background, it's almost like a shoo-in candidate for me.
Yeah, just cherry on top, so I would say. Yeah, I mean, 100% it edges out a person, especially like we said, if it's no picture, for whatever reason, like a lot of times, and I think every recruiter is the same, like if I only have so many messages I can send based off what I'm paying on LinkedIn for, I'm probably not going to message somebody without a picture because I feel like I might waste it.
Yeah, they might not. They may think, hey, this person isn't active, isn't using it, so we're not going to waste our time with trying to reach them on LinkedIn. So that's enough about the photo.
Basics. The one thing I wanted to touch on that not a lot of people know about is there's a way in LinkedIn you can click open a new opportunities. So as a recruiter, when we pay for a LinkedIn recruiter account, there is a way to filter candidates by open a new opportunity. And when I'm looking to fill a position, first thing I want to do is pick off the low-hanging fruit. meaning I want to grab the people that I know are open to new opportunities. So that's the first place that I look. And obviously, everybody listening to this, if you're developing this LinkedIn profile, it's because you're open and looking, but you're going to sit in that category, in that column of filtered out candidates. Like you will be, of the 10% that are clicking open a new opportunity. So you're more likely to get noticed.
So how do you do that, Matt?
It's a great question, and it's actually a little bit tricky. And I don't have the steps in front of me, but we can add it in.
So when we do that PDF, we'll put a guide in there on how you can make that happen. Just leave the cap off, bro. This dude brings in more fucking sound effects than...
Can you hear it?
Than a marching band. I'm just kidding. Okay, so I also wanted to talk about the details. So, like, there's a place where you can put a paragraph that's essentially kind of like a cover letter type situation. Like, hey, my name's Dan. These are my aspirations or goals or whatever. One thing I want to add is put your phone number in that description. Whatever you do, put the phone number in that description. And the reason why is because they may be able to see your phone number after they connect with you. But if they haven't connected with you yet, there's no way to look at your phone number or see your contact information. So if you put your email and your phone number in the description, they're going to be able to see that even if they're not connected to you. So they're going to be able to reach out to you directly, save them a step of the process, get them to you faster. So that's the big thing that I wanted to throw out there with optimization of a LinkedIn profile. And you can upload your actual resume to your LinkedIn page, and it will just show as a attachment on that LinkedIn profile page. So anything else to add with that LinkedIn stuff?
Nope. I think those are the meat and potatoes.
Oh, I will say, whenever you're doing, like, let's say you have actual work experience, or you've worked for a legit company or something like that, make sure that when you put the company name in, you tag the company that you've worked for. Like, make sure you're like I could say Full Circle Placements. I work at Full Circle Placements. If I don't click that company, like whenever, you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't actually attach the logo to the profile page.
They won't be able to look up what that company does, or it'll look like it's not a legitimate company.
Right, yeah. So make sure that you click the company. Make sure the logo of the company that you've worked for shows as you add your work history experience. Just because, it makes the company look a lot more legit, makes your profile look a lot cleaner. Mm-hmm. So that's all I got on that.
Yeah, and that's the gist of what you need to do to create a profile. And then, honestly, taking it a step further, using LinkedIn for networking. So LinkedIn is super user friendly. You can search by title, you can search by company, you can search by industry, whatever it is. My first thing I would do, obviously exhaust your resources, but when you go to LinkedIn, find people with titles that are similar to what it is that you want to do, or in companies for what it is that you want to do, right? And then of those, find like 25 people, right? If you do that, send them a message. So when you connect with somebody on LinkedIn, you get the opportunity to make a small message. So I'm actually I wrote out a little bit of a script, and it's something as simple as like this. Hey, Dan, I see you're a recruiter over at Full Circle Placements, and that's amazing. In fact, that's kind of amazing. That's kind of the work. That's the kind of work I'm trying to get into. I'm a insert here, sophomore, graduating, looking to make a career change, whatever. Would you be open to a call or coffee so I can hear your success story?
Yep.
Something as simple as that. Something that's and again, you can copy and paste that to everybody you find, and it can take 10 minutes to get 25 of those out.
Yeah,
and the return on that, even if it's two people, that's two people you get to sit down with in an industry that you're interested in and listen to what it is that they're doing and how they got into it.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a lot about this in just a second, but I would say set a goal, try to log in every day, make it a habit, and just add 25 people, 50 people, and get that LinkedIn profile to over just 501 or more. Because whenever you hit 500 connections, it'll show that, hey, this person has 500 plus connections, which in turn just shows that, like, hey, this person's active on LinkedIn quite a bit. They are connected to a lot of people and connect with people in the industry that you want to be in, as Matt said. So I definitely agree with that. But we want to talk, before we dig into navigating LinkedIn and how to use it to find the people that are in charge of hiring, we want to talk about the other side of the table, like the recruiting side, right? Like, how do recruiters or how do CEOs or hiring managers or whoever, how do they find the people that they want? And so for you to understand the process of what goes into finding someone, I think that'll only kind of load you up with ammo as you build your profile and work your networking online. And so the first thing I wanted to talk about is a Boolean search. I think that is key to not only your LinkedIn profile, but also your resume, because that is a Boolean search. And I'll let Matt give the definition because he's probably better at giving definitions than I am. But basically, that's the search that pulls the keywords that are in your profile that make you a match for whatever job that I'm searching for or candidate that I'm searching for. So
a Boolean search, and I was actually told by an IT guy that it has the same triggers as how people write code, but a very obviously not as complex. It's just certain words and certain symbols will create, like if you're looking for specific words like budgeting and forecasting, right? Sales and marketing. Like
right.
It's different terminologies that you can look for throughout a profile that will pop up in keywords. So if there's those words, and you can use and, you can use or. So if those,
and or not.
Yep.
And they're all capital letters.
Yep.
So like.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But so essentially it's this search that's found, and they do it in Google, they do it in LinkedIn, they do it on Indeed, whatever it is. So it's looking for buzzwords. It's looking for words that could correlate to this could be someone that would be a good fit for a job.
Yeah, so I'll run through an example real quick. Like let's say I'm looking for, let's say a client comes to me and says, I need an accountant who has manufacturing experience in cost of wire, right? Okay, so that's pretty specific. So how do I look for that person? I'm going to go to LinkedIn, or I'm going to go to CareerBuilder or Indeed or whoever, and I'm going to do a search, and I'm going to put in accountant and in capital letters, manufacturing and in capital letters, wire, right? And then I hit enter, and then it pulls every profile that has those words in them, and it basically spits out who I need to talk to or how big is my talent pool. There's another thing that you need to do as a recruiter sometimes, and that's put words into quotations, right? Because, for example, one of the roles that I search a lot is a mortgage underwriter. Well, there's also an insurance underwriter, and so if I just put underwriter, it pulls both of those, and I just need mortgage underwriter. So what you do is you put in quotes mortgage underwriter, end quote, and it pulls profiles that have exact words in succession as whatever is in my quote.
Yeah.
And it can be as many words as you want.
Yeah, and the reason for that is like an example that I just thought of is like if someone's looking for a plumber and they're looking for pipe fitting, right? I can put in pipe fitting to the search, and what it'll do is it'll just pull if there's the word pipe and the word fitting anywhere in that resume, LinkedIn profile, whatever it is, they'll pop up. But if I want to get more specific, I put those in quotations. It has to have pipe fitting right next to each other.
Yeah, and so like one search that I will do when I am looking for either an intern or an entry level, I will type in the words entry level or internship, and then I also include, even when I have like a quick role that I need to fill, I'll just use the word seeking.
Yep.
Because you'll put, and your headline should be entry level candidate seeking, and so if I can pull entry level and seeking, your resume or your LinkedIn profile or your resume is going to come to the top for me.
Right.
And I'm going to reach out to you. So.
Exactly. And that's what Dan's saying is, again, this isn't so you guys understand, this isn't so you know how to search in Boolean, but this is the idea is to give you an insight into a recruiter's mind. So how to flip this is make sure you have these keywords and buzzwords in your profile, like the most important words that a company is going to be looking for. Make sure you have them in your experience so you're more likely to get noticed.
Yeah, and so, we'll end the Boolean search piece there, but I would say it wouldn't be a bad thing for you guys to go on Google and just look up Boolean search. And the way to spell Boolean, at least I'm not a very good speller, but I think it's Boolean. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah.
All right, so if Matt says yes, it's definitely true. Unless it's about potatoes.
Speller. Yeah.
All right. So that's kind of how recruiters use LinkedIn. That's how they find people. That's what goes through their mind as they're searching for their next hire or whatever. And we wanted to relay that, as Matt had said, just so you have an understanding. But the biggest thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about today is how to use LinkedIn to go even further than just having a profile, having a resume. Like, who cares? Everybody has one of those. Yours just looks better now because we've told you how to make it better. But how do you really use LinkedIn as a tool for social networking to meet the people that can essentially give you your next opportunity, your next job, your next internship, whatever it might be? They could even become a mentor. Whatever you need, you can find literally on LinkedIn. And so we want to dive into that a lot. And this is what the PDF is going to be about. Whenever you go to internshippodcast.com, throw in your email, we're going to email you the PDF version of how to do this, because you may not follow every step as we talk about it. But Matt, I'll let you dive in. So if you wanted to be an internship for Nestle Purina, what steps would you take? You have your LinkedIn profile set up, you have your resume. Now, 10,000 people applied to it. So how are you going to separate yourself, and how can you use LinkedIn to do that a little bit?
Yeah, and it's mostly what I kind of talked about earlier. It's, like I said, the user friendliness of LinkedIn makes this really easy to where, first off, if there's a position there, actually, let me take it a step back. First thing I would do is start to look through your connections of who you already have and just see if you know of anybody in the company. I think that's the warmest lead, I guess you could call it, that you might have. Next, you're going to look for, and I don't know, you might have an opinion on this. I think I would go first somebody that's in that role. And then, like I said, do that cold message to them, like, hey, saw your background, looking to get in, just wanted to pick your brain on how you got to where you are. Do it to as many people as you can find. And then, obviously, you want to go straight to the source, find the recruiter within the organization, and do the same thing. Hey, I saw your recruiter at Nestle Purina. I'm sure you get a lot of these, but I'm incredibly interested in this position, and I'm just wondering what I can do to stand out over the rest of the people applying to the role.
Yeah, and I would think that a lot of people maybe don't do that.
No. A lot of
so
people,
like you doing that is separating yourself alone. Mm-hmm. And I'll get into my approach in just a second, but I just wanted to kind of play off that. Is you can kind of play dumb. I know people might be doing this, or you could say, I applied, but this was the first time I applied there, and I just wanted to see if it went through or whatever. Like,
so I
get a conversation out of that.
Get a conversation going. And I'll say, when I was recruiting at Nestle Purina, it happened so infrequently that whenever people would do it, I would at least reach out to whoever's working on that role and see what qualifications.
Yeah.
And then if they met the qualifications, I'd say, hey, this person reached out to me. Will you reach out to them?
Right.
And it's not guaranteeing anything, but it's definitely a good way to start the conversation. And like I said, somebody took those steps and went the extra mile. I'm typically connecting with whoever on LinkedIn, so of course I'm going to try to help them because it will take minimal effort on my part. Now, on the on the flip side of this, don't ever reach out to a recruiter and say, hey, I'm interested in your company. Do you have any jobs for me?
Yeah.
Like if that's
no,
what
be specific.
People,
like show them your goal.
If that's what people are saying, I would just ignore. I ignore them.
Yeah.
Because if you're not coming to me with a specific role, you're coming to me and you want me to find a job that matches up with your skill set. So I'm going to
we don't have time for that shit.
No, it's very what's the word I'm looking for? Unengaging. It's very.
It just turns us off because it's kind of like, okay, well, you're just reaching out and saying, hey, do you have something for me? Now, if you reached out and you said, hey, listen, you guys have this internship and it's for a junior or accounting internship. I'm about to complete my degree here. Give a quick summary of why that job is important to you and why the company is important to you that you want to work for and that you want to intern with. Yep. And that is probably going to lead into a conversation. But if you're just very direct, like, hey, can you get me a job there? Like, no, absolutely not. Like, fuck off, you know?
And don't ask for a job. Don't ask for an interview. Ask, I'm just wondering what I can do to have my profile stand out above the others.
Yeah. So I'll dive into my approach, which is very similar but kind of different. Mine is maybe a little more invasive, but I would think that maybe it's a little more effective too. Sorry.
It's okay.
So the first thing I would do, and I'll run through an example as I talk through the steps too. So the first thing, if you're looking for an internship or you're looking for a job, target 5 companies. Who do you really want to work for? What's important? Is there a company that you grew up down the street from that you would love to work at? For us in St. Louis, I know that like Anheuser-Busch or Nestle Purina, or there's it's not Monsanto anymore, but they're
Bayer.
Yeah, Bayer. So there's these companies that are large and that we know pay well and that everybody would want to work for. I call that kind of company a destination employer, and they're a destination because everybody wants to go there. So what I would do is I would list out 5 companies, 10 companies, however many companies you want to do. But Matt said to reach out to recruiters, and that's the difference in what I would do. I would actually, if I want to be an accountant, I would reach out to a manager of accounting or the CFO, I would go hard. I would just say, hey, listen, I'm an intern. I'm trying to learn this. Can I take you out to coffee? Can I just talk to you? How can we have a conversation and see or maybe you want to know more about their story because you're considering being an accountant. So I would actually reach out directly to managers in the departments that you want to work in, whether it's accounting, whether it's marketing, whether it's recruiting, whether it's PR, whatever, whoever the managers are in that department are going to be the ones who are going to be able to point you into who's really in charge of this. Because just so you guys know, the recruiters are the gatekeepers. The recruiters are the people that tee up the conversations with hiring managers. They're the ones submitting candidates to the hiring managers. But I'll tell you this right now. If a hiring manager sends us your resume and says, hey, I want to talk to this person, then we're on it. And that's who we're setting up because they're basically our boss whenever they tell, you know what I mean? So we're working for them. And when they say, hey, we want to talk to, Sarah, who I just, connected with on LinkedIn, set her up for an interview, we're going to call you and we're going to set it right up, right?
Yeah, so they're making the ultimate decision. So in essence, right. Yes, we're working for them as a recruiter, but it's making our jobs easier.
Right.
Because I can say if I have a warm referral that somebody's going to push through this process, they've got a good chance of getting the job.
Yeah, so you're bypassing even the recruiter at that point. So how do you do that? That's the big question. That's what I want to talk about today with this whole navigating LinkedIn thing, with networking on LinkedIn. And Matt already had said like, hey, and this is to Matt's point, connect with a bunch of people in your industry. Well, how do I do that and how do I be super effective with it? So the first thing you're going to do, and I'm just going to dive right into the example, and if you guys have your computer in front of you and you have LinkedIn already, then follow along. Otherwise, just sign up for the PDF and I'll send you the guide. No big deal. But let's say my 5 companies, the first company is Anheuser-Busch, and I use Anheuser-Busch because it's the biggest company probably out of St. Louis, or one of the most well-known in the United States, right? And I want to work for Anheuser-Busch. I'm about to graduate college. What am I going to do? The first thing I'm going to do on LinkedIn is I'm going to type in Anheuser-Busch in the search bar. What's going to happen is a drop-down is going to come and it's going to show Anheuser-Busch as a company. You click on the company. You click on Anheuser-Busch, and it's going to bring you to Anheuser-Busch's LinkedIn business profile, right? And so now you can just look over whatever they have going on. But what's really important is there's another button where it says, it'll probably say 10,000 employees or 300 employees or however many employees that have LinkedIn that are on or that work at the company that have LinkedIn. It's going to show that. And so you're going to click that. How many employees? 350 employees. I click on 350. And what that does is that gives me an entire directory of every person that works for Anheuser-Busch that's on LinkedIn. And now is where I have full access to every single person that I would want to connect with and talk to. And all you have to do in the top search bar is type in whatever your job you're going after. Type in marketing, type in accounting,
right? So there's a button that says all filters. You click all filters, it's location. You can do it by degree of connection. So it can be your first connection, second connection, meaning somebody that knows them. It can be, like I said, and then the big part, like Dan was saying, was you can search by title. Right. Yeah. So that was a great point that I forgot about is filter it down to the city that you're in or the city that you want to work in. The city that you're in, you're going to be able to get a quick conversation or maybe coffee or something like that. But so for us, I would filter it to St. Louis, Missouri. I want to be in recruiting, so I'll type in talent acquisition or I'll type in recruiting, and then I hit enter. And what happens is every single motherfucker that works there that's in
recruiting or talent acquisition is going to pop up. And now I can just sift through and I can scroll through. And even if there's 200 people, I'm going to be able to find the VP of recruiting. I'm going to be able to find the director of recruiting. And by the way, it goes like team lead, supervisor, manager, director, VP, and SVP.
Whatever.
That's kind of like the title stages of corporate career pathing, if you guys don't know that already. I didn't whenever I first started recruiting, actually. I'm like, was manager higher than a director? But anyway, so you'll be able to find who's in charge of what, and that's who you're going to start connecting with, those managers, those directors, those VPs. And then whenever they connect back, you're going to get a notification. Hey, Bob Jones connected with you. He's the VP of Talent Acquisition at Anheuser-Busch. Shoot Bob a message. Bob's email is going to be on to dive in even further, click on his profile. On his profile, there's a section that says contact info. You're going to get Bob's email. You're going to get Bob's phone number. Maybe. It's not always on there, but you might get his phone number. And you'll be able to message him directly on LinkedIn. So I would message him on LinkedIn. I would go as far as trying to find his work email address. And you can do a search on LinkedIn a lot of times and or on Google a lot of times and find that too.
Yeah, and when Dan was talking about, like, I just did a little search on Nestle Purina and talent advisors is what they call them, or recruiters, and there's like 40-something results that popped up. And Dan said sometimes you'll get that. Don't be discouraged by that, because at the end of the day, that's actually a good thing. Because when you're networking and you don't know people, it turns into a numbers game. A lot of people aren't going to connect with you for whatever reason, and a lot of people aren't going to reply. That's okay. The more people you see, the more opportunities you have to just copy and paste that message, because at some point you're going to hit somebody that's going to feel like, hey, I've been there before. I'd love to help this person out.
Yeah. So, and you'll be able to see if they see your message, and then follow up with them. Don't just fucking quit after one message. If they don't respond, maybe they're busy. Maybe they are just like, okay, whatever, Send them a follow-up. Hey, Bob, I just wanted to follow up. I'd really like to meet you. I'm really passionate. I really want to work in Anheuser-Busch. I grew up in St. Louis. This is why I want to work there. I just kind of want to learn more about your path and how you've grown with them or whatever, until he finally says, okay,
That's a really good point. And realistically, so I told you, like, majority of the people that have reached out to me and like for that, like, obviously not many people have, but those who have taken that step for that first one, there have been times where I'll see it, I'll be like, oh, okay, and then I'll just forget about it because I'm super busy in the day. I guarantee you 100% of the time they send a second message, I respond.
Yeah.
And plus, it's an accountability factor because you can see who's read your messages.
Yeah, and even if they don't respond, what happens? Nothing. You have nothing to lose but to follow up, because that's how you get what you want. Like, there was a funny story about in professional golf, there was a guy who messaged Sergio Garcia every day for like 400 days. Hey, can I caddy for you? Hey, can I caddy for you? And every single day, Sergio Garcia is a big time golfer for people that don't know golf. Anyways, every day for like 400 days, and just that persistence, finally he was like, you know what? You've been bugging the shit out of me. Let's do it. You can come caddy for me for a tournament. So it worked. You know what I mean? So there's so many stories like that are just like, hey, you've been bugging me so much with sales or whatever that I'll finally talk to you. I'm not saying like, stalk them or anything, but be professional, follow up, tell them how much you want it, show them how bad you want it, and it'll probably happen. So again, LinkedIn, hop on there, get in the search bar, find the company. On the company's page, find the amount of employees they have. Click on that. Type in your major or type in the field of work you want to do. Filter it out by city that you're in and start connecting with those people and trying to get some conversations going. And I think that alone, just the ability to do that, won't help you just today finding your first internship or your first job. That's going to help you for your whole career. That's going to help you in sales. That's going to help you with if you're a manager and you need to find somebody. I mean, just from a recruiting standpoint, it's going to be able to help you. Maybe you're hiring people one day. So
yep.
I really want to relay that message because I think that's a huge piece of information that maybe career centers, as we've talked about in the past, won't dive into in depth. This is something that they're not going to teach you in school in terms of finding your first job. So, for me, it's a big deal. I also think it's a ton of value for you guys. So we'll put together that PDF and we'll get that out to you. So on top of that, so you have LinkedIn for social media and recruiting. I mean, is that it for today?
I think it is. I mean, we covered a ton there. I think this is by far the longest podcast we've done so far.
Yeah, this is a lot longer one, but I think that...
And this might be able to segue into, like, all the points that we touched on, we're realizing could be their own podcast. So as you guys are listening, as you're getting value, you're going to have questions. Send your questions in. If you need elaboration on some stuff, because a lot of times Dan and I will sit here and think and talk, and we'll say stuff, and we're integrated into this stuff every day. So we don't realize that some of this stuff needs to be explained a little bit further.
Yeah, and email us. Let us know. Like, tell us, like, hey, you know, talk more about XYZ that you talked about in the podcast about LinkedIn or whatever. Let us know. But, I mean, yeah, this was a longer podcast for us, but I think that there was so much good information for you guys to use, and there was real value here. So we don't try to, like, cut it off at 30 minutes. We're just talking until we relay the value, and that's kind of our goal for each podcast. So we'll wrap it up for this one. I do think that there's some other things we can talk about that we'll do entire podcast episodes on. But yeah, that's all we got. If you guys like our stuff, again, like, share, subscribe. I actually don't know all the different things that you can do to get the word out, but share this with your friends because it'll definitely help them succeed. And also, internshippodcast.com. Get the PDF. We'll email it to you. But until next time, I think that's it. That's all.
Yep. Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll see you.